The powerful question which a lot of you are going to be asking is, what is visualization? Why is visualization so important? What are the visualization technique for? How do I visualize what I want? Does visualization really work as people claim? And how do you practice visualization? This is going to be the predominant question that's going to be revolving and floating through your mind if you have been thinking about this, and if you are really awakened and you are about to dive into this part of spirituality. Let me begin to say, or by saying, that everything you can see around you today emerged from people's subconscious mind into reality through visualization. And one of the common name of this very visualization is what you now know as blueprint or idea boards. There are so many names of it. The world that you live today is being populated by many who have different aspirations, ideas, thoughts, different capabilities. And you, my friend, you may have been sleeping. However, your world is still there, still waiting for you. Your reality is waiting for you to start. The moment you awake from your slumber, from your distraction, from the matrix that you are caught in, then that is when you start shaping your reality. Unfortunately, there are some people who don't get to wake up from this matrix or this slumber until their time in this world has elapsed. They realize this at a very old age. I want you to have right there in your back of your mind that nobody came with anything. And so if nobody come with anything, how did all those people acquire all this that they have? If you have asked yourself this kind of question before, then you're welcome to the path to prosperity. If your parents are not financially successful or buoyant or outbursting, you will have to figure your path to prosperity. Simply because it is you who is the architect of your own reality. You are the boss. Everyone will be at your service when you have aligned yourself properly or visualized properly what your goal is. Because it's upon this visualization, upon this realization, upon this awakening, upon this very alignment is where things that has fallen apart before will come into life. The bones that have dried will become alive. Because you are the energy that propels anything. You are the energy that powers up everything about your life. The moment you stop or you quit, everything about your life will begin to die. So in today's edition, I'm going to be teaching you 8 formula for visualization, 8 technique of visualization which you can use to manipulate your own reality to your own taste. It is imperative, before going, I'm going to tell you a story about my own life because I am a practice of what I am teaching you. So you draft inspiration from there. And one other reason more about why I need to tell you these stories, because I need to structure your mind to believe. Because belief is one of the hardest things that humanity have. And those who don't have the problem of believing, they are reaping in abundance. That is why the entire Bible is structured on faith, belief, love, faith, believe, hope. Believe, believe. And I'm going to be giving you some of the verses as we go on today. Not to cage your mentality, but to break you free so that you can start floating in that spiritual dimension that will now allow things which you have been built with to start coming out. I want you to perceive this word that everything that you see is a reflection of what people have inside their mind. So I'm going to be restructuring your mind with a new ideas that will now be very constructive to your mission to accomplish whatsoever you desire. More like giving you a template, a guide to how to properly align yourself. This alignment is what I call like a radio dial, which you can use to tune into any radio program, which when you tune in correctly, what happens? It's like a key on, you start hearing the program very sharp. That is exactly how it is to human life. Most of these inventions and innovations you see are drafted through human path to spirituality and physical dimensions. One of the powerful tools in visualization process is a pen to write down or note tablet you can use. You use this to tune your own frequency to allow your own desire to align perfectly with that which you want, or to create the energy matching that will match the desired goal which you have set for your own self. Because if they are unmatched, you'll be getting a distortion, you're going to be getting noise, you're not going to be getting the information. I've used it in manifesting music, compositions, different things. It's too numerous to mention, but the music one, how I did that is going to be for another day. The one I'm going to tell you today is much more stronger than that of the music, but they are all similar method, which if you follow this very step I'm going to be teaching you today, you should be able to manifest anything or any kind of lifestyle which you want. You can alter anything, and from this very point, I want you to conceive in your heart and believe that nothing has a definite shape. It is alterable. Wherever the other person stops is where the next person can come and continue. That is to say that we have no limits. The limits we have is the only limit that we set for ourselves. So a pencil to sketch is also another powerful tool for visualization, and I'm going to tell you how these tools works as we go. Like I told you before, these tools are your dialer. Before we dive in, right, I want to tell you a story about my spiritual journey. Back years ago, when I was 14 going to 15, I have a problem with my facial look. I often take more than 20 shots when I'm about to take a photograph or what you call passport, and yet to find one which I'm going to be comfortable with is always a problem. However, sometimes I do often discover that if I smile, the one that I smile on often get to be the one that looks just a little bit close to something which I'm gonna like, but it is not often the catch which I really need, but it is just preferable. So it makes me to smile more, and this added a little bit of trick and magic to my own facial expression. But this is not the story, but this is part of the story. Now, most of these pictures I took, I look so ugly in them. That is the reality. Accepting the reality as it is not a problem. But what is the problem is you keeping it that way. You're accepting, you're looking at the reality is to validate this is what the reality is, then you decide to alter it. That is how this life is. Now, bearing this in mind, I started having a low self-esteem that made me shy and lack confidence in myself to do anything I want to do. When I got to 16 of age, this problem don't seem to have any relieving sight that can make me feel better. While I was in a boarding school, I often sketch people's portrait, especially some of my fellow students would bring the photograph of their parents for me to sketch it so they can use it to win that. That is hard. And I am very good at sketching that, and it looks very beautiful. And that paid me. One very evening, I sat down and I began to ponder over this issue. Then an intrusive thought came suggesting I would sketch a portrait of my own self. That sounded a little bit weird, but I didn't resist. What I have to do right now is I did have to sketch my own facial expression, add sunglasses. Now, before doing that, I started thinking of how do I do that. Now, that is where the pen come in. I start having some thoughts telling me I should portray myself to look more handsome the way I would want to look in reality. I didn't hesitate. That's an idea. Some others started putting some other ideas, but the main one which I grab is portray myself to look handsome the way I would prefer to look in the reality. So without wasting further time, I started sketching myself. While I was sketching myself, another intrusive thought came again, suggesting I add a longer hair to myself because I don't have a long hair. But I ignored that. I was on the part, let me finish the portrait first. Now, after my sketch, I take a look at exactly what I have got. And it was so handsome that I began sending signals I have never received into my body. And these signals started making me becoming so happy. It's so overwhelming. I started getting some kind of feelings I've never had before in my entire life. From that very moment, I started having a boosted confidence. Now, what happens there is this feeling I was feeling right now, I wasn't looking at the portrait there like it's not me. I was looking at it that is how I look, and it makes me so happy that, in fact, there was no any negative thought of telling me that I look lesser than that, which is actually the reality. Due to how happy and confidence which I had made me started showing this portrait of mine to my teachers for them to take a look at my fellow students, and they were telling me it's so handsome. And some of them started pointing out that it did look like me, however, that it looks more handsome than me. And that is actually the reality. But their own critics and their own observation never deter me to start feeling like, no, this is not me, that, Now, what did I do after that? After showing it to them, I took the portrait to my room and I kept it exactly where I'm supposed to be keeping my mirror. And from that very moment on, that becomes my mirror. I glance at it every time before I go to sleep. I glance at it, in fact, like every now and then. And it is not just glancing at it. I started holding that image as my own facial image, because until you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't really know what you look like. So I started seeing that as my real face. And guess what? Within 3 years after that, I've left my hometown into the city and left my portrait in a lot of things. And guess what started happening? My facial structure began to change. Now, when it started to change, I have forgotten that I actually did something like that, this very ritual. I'm going to call this like a ritual, which I did. I have forgotten that I actually did those. Now, within this time, after the 3 years time, I have a new goal which I want to achieve. I want to become a singer. And to be a singer, the kind of person whom I'm aspiring to become is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson have a long hair. So now it did also come to me within that very moment again that, wow, now I forgot to say something. At this very stage here, becoming a musician, I needed long hair. And who is my role model? Michael Jackson. He has a long hair now. While I was thinking about it, another intrusive thought came into me, and I started pondering that. I used the kind of logic which I would advise you to use, which most often times will speed up the process of manifesting anything that we want to manifest, attract anything, any lifestyle that we want to attract, or become whom we want to become. So this thought came into me, and I sat down again, started pondering that, look, my sisters are all beautiful. How the hell will someone like me know? It is just not natural for me not to become a handsome person. Then a second thought also came in, projecting that if hair makes women beautiful, then if I have a longer hair, then it should make me handsome. I concluded that yes. And instantly, without hesitation, I started putting a lot of things in place and started growing my hair to be longer. Now, from my own race, we don't often have a long hair, especially men. In fact, it is very hard for most women to grow their natural hair, not to talk about men. But in this case, I put everything aside and I believe it's possible, and I started growing my hair. I started applying some shampoo, and I have a lot of people who are criticizing me about it, but I don't care. Now, it got to some point that people started calling me Michael Jackson. This boosted a lot of things. This aligned a lot of things. This started making a lot of things start stepping into my life. And, this is something which I intended to share with you guys, that whenever you dive into a different aspect of life, in order to get something, and you really make that swift change, there is always either a negative or a positive outcome. So if your heart is on the positive side, you start receiving the positive side. I want you to understand it. I want you to just believe it. Within this very moment right now, as I'm leaving my hair to grow very, very long, and my hair actually started growing long. The second part here is when this hair started growing, I'm a very shy person and I often cover my hair. Now, when I went to the bank over the counter to make a withdrawal, I start getting some reactions I never got before. And that is when I know that something strange, something unbelievable has happened. My facial expression, my facial structure was so changed that even the bank I opened my account with couldn't recognize me. My signature was all the same. Every other thing was the same. My name, my signature was the same, but my face was completely different. Now, this wasn't a speculation. I checked through different bank branches that I have that time, because as I was making up my mind that I want to become a musician, I opened different accounts with different banks and I'm experiencing the same thing. There was a lot of time I started, they look at it and they look at me, they look at it after I signed the signature and I go, it's strange, right? It say yes. The cashier or the accountants, the banker behind the counter say yes. I say, yeah, my face is so different from what you're seeing on the screen, but my signatures are all the same. They say yes. I say, yeah, I have been hearing a lot about that. So what am I trying to tell you? Your faith, your belief about anything without doubt, and start to proceed with every relative action that is correlating with what you want to achieve will make a tremendous change that's going to transform anything. When I mean anything, I mean anything. Now, I have also used the same process after this to get to where I am today, to manifest my wife, my lovely kids, and the life of abundance which I have right now. When we talk about life of abundance, to be contented with what you have, eat whatever you want to eat, go wherever you want to go, have cars. I think that is a dream that people have. And next is having home of your own. So what more would you possibly want? And next is to start helping others. So I am telling you this very story so that you can understand that recognizing the reality that is at hand is good. However, when you apply your own logic and use your own logic to counter your present moment, the next step is for you to give your life a new direction after your logic, and what will happen next is your reality will comply 100%. Now, if suppose this is where you reach in this very video and you stopped without even going to the 8 ways, don't forget this very quote. The very moment you change your mentality about anything, your reality will follow. So the change that you need is about your mentality to believe. And the moment you change that, your reality will have no problem than to follow. That is exactly what happened this time. It changed me so much that my banks are now confused each time I go to the counter with my hair covered, not even with my hair opened, to make a withdrawal. When I decide to fly my hair when passing on the road, I cause commotion. Ladies, married women can take eyes off me because it is so hard for our own women to even grow their hair to that point. It was swingable, the like I've never seen before. So I am not teaching you because of research said. I am teaching you based on my own encounters, my own experiences. And this is not possible without visualization. So there is endless of possibility that lies in our ability to visualize whatever we want to visualize. And how I manifest my wife and kids and some others is what I'm going to be teaching you in some other day, not for this one. Now, people around the world has been using these various kinds of visualization technique. Now, there are too many of them. The reason why there are too many of them is because different people have different opinion or have different belief about different approach. So we give you different method because there are some that is not often easy, depend on the situation. So the one that is much more easy for you to absorb is what you're gonna use. mirror principle, thinking big. There are all different methods, but it's all different formula to arrive at the same answer. So people around the world have been using these various kinds of technique, meditations and prayer for centuries. However, visualization often get a bad reputation as being something mystical or woo-woo that isn't grounded in reality. But the truth is, you don't need to be spiritual to benefit from visualization technique. Visualization has been studied by psychologists to understand how it works. So whether you want to be a spiritualist or not, it doesn't matter. But if you apply the process, if you apply the technique, it works for you. And nowadays, everybody from professionals, athletics to CEOs are benefiting from visualization techniques. So let's take a look at what visualization is and how and how important it is, why it's important. Then we can outline some visualization technique, like 8 of them that you can start using by yourself. So what is visualization? Visualization is a practice of imagining what you want to achieve in the future as if it were true today. It involves using all 5 senses of sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. The process of visualization directs your subconscious mind to be aware of the end goal you have in mind. It reminds you on a consistent basis, and it trains your brain to respond as if that outcome were true in the present moment. There are 2 types of visualization: outcome visualization, which does with envisioning the desired future endpoint, and process visualization, which is envisioning every step towards the desired outcome with all the senses engaged. When the 2 visualizations are used in tandem, they yield the best possible result that might blow us away. Why is visualization important? For a lot of you who may be asking, we live in a world of digital overload. There is a constant cycle of renew and entertainment, plus remote work is available with the click of a button. It is easy to become distracted. It is easy to believe that there is not enough time in a day. You just want time to step back and focus on the things that matters to you the most. In this presentation, unleash your super brain to learn faster, which is actually the key. You can choose to be either a thermostat or a thermometer. The thermostat responds to the environment. The thermometer sets the temperature and creates the desired condition. Visualization is a technique that allows you to set the parameter to make your future vision a reality. In creative visualization, you direct your brain to focus on what matters the most to you and to engage in a process called selective attention. Have you ever bought a car and then noticed that everyone else seems to be driving that same car? We see the things that we choose to focus on. This concept of selective attention is exemplified in classic video, Test Your Awareness. Do the test. What you focus on and take deliberate step towards are more likely to become a reality. That is true in both positive and negative. Have you ever imagined the worst possible outcome along with all the visceral fear, and then you actually came through? What if you change that to the best possible imagined outcome with a related elation and full sensory awareness? For the answer, we can look to cognitive behavior theory. Visualization is built on the foundation. It teaches that thought precedes action. Visualization is a technique that takes that idea one step further. In imagining the future state in a full sensory detail, your brain neuroimageries record the future state as if it's true today. So what are visualization techniques for? Visualization can be used to motivate you to focus on and work towards your future ideas. It can be used to build your self-confidence. Imagine yourself presenting in front of a large audience and hearing the resounding applause. You're likely to believe and act in a way to make it happen. Visualization can also be used as a form of mental rehearsal. Through process visualization, you increase selective attention and engage the mental pathway that helps you to fine-tune the movement before you even step into the stage. Your movements are envisioned in a way programmed to take pre-planned action. You can add this action to longer term plan, 5 years plan. Visualization technique can also can reduce anxieties that direct your attention back to the detail of your desired outcome, in the process minimizing noise of other less relevant distractions. The question is, how do you want to visualize what you want or need? First, you have to do the pre-work. An excellent place to start is the balance way of exercise. Check in your own satisfactory levels with the various areas of life. Is your life well balanced, or does an area need attention? Next, become clear of the values that act your own North Star. Do you value family, career, and money, or travel, adventure, and freedom? How do these values impact the decision you make? Finally, take some time to do some positive thinking. Use your imagination through reflective writing prompts in the best possible self-exercise. Who do you want to be when you were little? Who are you today? Is it the same or a different version? Also consider, when you were energized and felt most engaged and alive, what was it about that time that invigorated you? What mattered about that moment? Take a piece of that moment and imagine the future states you want. Try to get to that same feeling of excitement and emotional intensity. Imagine where you and what you are doing, who's are around you, who are those who are around you within those time. How do you feel? What smell are they in the air at that very moment? And what are the taste of your tongue? What are your thoughts at that moment? If you believe your thoughts, it's possible. If you don't, it is not. With an understanding of what matters to you the most and why you are already beginning the practice of visualization. Now, the next question which most people often ask is, does visualization really work? Google the term visualization. List of elite athletes comes up who have had put in mind over matters to achieve their athletic goal. They've learned to focus on the critical movement before they ever step into the competitive arena. They understand that mental exercise is just as important as physical exercise. Stroke victims have used the mental exercise of visualization to activate neuroplasticity. Just doing it mentally work in a way similar to physical activities. Visualization is illustrated in the Netflix series Queen Gambit. Chess prodigy Beth Harmon rise the rank by first being exposed to the game. When deciding she wants to master the game, she read all the book about chess. She masters all the plays that she can get her hands on. She keeps practicing, then goes to sleep and visualize nightly and move up upcoming chess match with all the sense. Watch a dancer prepare for her dance off stage, making the movement with her feet and arms as she plays the dance out in her head. The dance performed, and then watches the dance replayed on the video with judges' comments. She takes the adjustment and practice, then visualize the process repeating over and over again, both as mental imagery and physical. Do you remember a time when you imagined the outcome clearly, the step you took to make it happen? Did it end up happening just as you imagined? Then you know that it wasn't a matter of wishful fulfillment, so to say. There was a desire front and center that guided your thoughts and behavior. Your neuronal pathways towards that desired imagined and fulfilled outcome. How do you practice visualization? So we're going to be going into the 8 steps. Here are the 8 steps of visualization. Write down what you want in detail. Engage all 5 senses. As you include more sensory images, your vision will become more palpable and you'll be more motivated to follow through to make the outcome happen. Keep adding to the details until it feels as if you are living in the experience. Imagine the emotion attached to the outcome, what it's gonna feel like. The more you can feel what it will be like to accomplish the goal, the more you believe it can be attained, and the more likely you'll be to act on it. Take action every day towards your desired outcome. Accept that there will be setback. Close your eyes and imagine how you deal with the setback as they come and continue forward towards your goal. Expand your knowledge. If more knowledge is required, research. Talk to experts. Take class. Use that knowledge to further details your visions, statement, and the steps that you have to take to get there. Make time to consider your visualization. Visualize twice daily for a total of 10 minutes. It is most effective in the moment you wake and the moment just before you go to sleep. This will help engage the subconscious in your focused effort towards your desired outcome. Close your eyes and imagine the desired outcome with all related senses and emotion. Write your desired outcome as if it's true in the present day. On an index card, read it in the morning and at night. Create a vision board, have it in your life. See it as if you go. Visualization technique and tools. Learn how to practice visualization. Learning visualization can be very tricky. However, if you carefully follow my teachings and lay out procedure correctly, it will reduce the vagueness and give you directions, clear steps. Here are the 8 tools that will guide you and the techniques you can use to learn how to practice visualization. 1. Believe the process and flow with it. The first thing you need to believe about visualization technique and achieving your desire is that every product have a process. Consider your desired goal as a product. Look around the entire YouTube and how it's made channel or your cable. Once you align yourself with this perception, it gives you a broad spectrum of how, and the how will be the subject matter that will help you unlock the process to the product you want. Don't forget, perceive the outcome of your own goal as a product, and every product has a process, and you are starting the process. Believe the process. And the B on the A, nothing has a definite form or shape, meaning your own house. Why do you think that the architect often asks you ideas, asks you how you want your own house to be? Because he wants you to be part of the dream shaper, the reality shaper of your own dream. So nothing has a form. If you remember that house, if you remember the car, you love the car you bought. If it is a house that you want to build, you want to design it and decide where your kitchen is going to be, where the bath is going to be, how the size is going to be, how the sitting room is going to be. So believe that nothing has a definite shape or form. Only the minds make it so, and in that, it's going to help you to create the reality that you want. Number 2, create a flow chart. A flow chart board. This visualization tool is a collection of images and words that inspires you and represent your goal. When I say it, every top celebrity uses it, it doesn't end there. What is that famous movie about LAPD or FBI, forensic science, that is trying to investigate a mysterious crime? Didn't you see they have a visualization board or a flow chart board? These people uses this board, and you see them pin the picture of the suspect that what they are trying to investigate and other relative recent stories. It doesn't end there. The construction firm cannot do without blueprint of the master plan when they want to build anything or troubleshoot any problem within the project, because it serves as a visual representative representation and guide to what you want to achieve. Place your board somewhere where you can see it every day. That way, you'll be constantly reminded of what you are working towards, and this makes the universe to channel the right energy and element needed to manifest your desired goals towards making it a success. This method is not new, only that people aren't so observant of the process. Rather, they are interested in the finished product, not the process. And the third, listen to a guided visualization meditation. YouTube is full of free guided meditation videos, and interactive visualization can help you relax and set some time aside to focus on your goal. Guided imagery help give you something to focus on, and in that form, every other thing that fall out of place will start falling in place by a well-guided visualization and meditation on the subject or goal which you want to achieve or what you want to attract. Fourth, use index card. Do you remember using flashcard as a kid? Maybe you use them to learn math or words. As an adult, we can use index card in a similar way as a tool for visualization. Make a list of 10 to 20 goals that you currently working towards. Write each on an index card and keep it near your bed. Every morning and every night, go through the stack of the card one at a time. Read each card aloud and close your eyes and visualize yourself completing that goal. It is as magical as it sounds, and watch how it will be not just only easy. If there is any obstacle along the way, it will be revealed to you in your dream through your subconscious mind. Fifth, picture and describe. The more detail you use when visualizing, the more real it feels to you. It's one thing to get quick thoughts that you want a slice of pizza. It's entirely different to really allow yourself to be obsessed about it. Think how much more real it seems if you take a few minutes to imagine how it tastes, feel, smell to eat a slice of pizza right now. Create as specific of a mental image as possible of that which you want. If you don't know how, just continue to the end of this very video. I will be providing more examples of how you can do this. Try to provide your brain with as many detail about your goal as possible. More detail means better clarity and solution leading to manifestation. 6. Action. Engaging yourself. Things related to your goal can make it more real and materialize faster. Maybe one of your goals is to be a parachuting. If you've never done it before, it's hard to imagine exactly what it's like. Watch some videos of other people parachuting, then rehearse with your memory, or put just a bag at your back, just like you see them do, and try to mesmerize with it. People can, when someone see you doing that, is going to think that you're crazy, but don't mind. The more you mesmerize with it, the more you align yourself to the spiritual effect or element of it, which will now make it much more easier for you to do even in the real world. Read accounts people have written about parachuting or article, or talk to people who have tried it. All these things will increase your knowledge about it and make it feel more real for you. Try out the visualization technique from this list above. Your selective attention will be directed towards fulfilling your vision, and you be the thermostat creating the condition that's just right for you. Seventh, believe the process with a precedenting positive belief. Believe you have achieved it and live in the reality of that belief. This is where most people often chicken out when we say live in the reality of it. If I want to manifest a flat or a mansion, what I need to do in order to live in the reality of that is to make a video footage of myself with a green screen, then get that very kind of mansion which I want to manifest, and place my own image. Let that mansion be my background while I run around. You can also do it in different rooms. I want you to create that video. Go ahead and create that green screen video. When you create it and imagine yourself and see and watch yourself in that very environment, you will start having a feeling of living in that reality. And this speeds up the process of you manifesting that goal. If it is car, you can do the same with a car, or even possibly find where to rent one or lease one, right? But the important goal is not even the leasing, it's you chiseling your own feeling into it and making it look so real. And be as happy as you will be if it is yours. That is the point of the whole thing. Because that feeling is what matters. Then 8, create a model for your desired goal. The model is also something which you talked about previously on the context of this very 8 ways or 8 techniques of visualization. These models, I don't know if you have actually seen most people who build skyscrapers or different houses. It's not only those who actually build skyscrapers. Almost everything in our technological age today that people are trying to build for the first time, why did you think they often build a prototype? So, the prototype is a magical piece that helps to materialize their thought from spiritual realm to physical. When you build a prototype or a model for that which you want to manifest, it serves like an intermediary of communication. It serves like a mast, the way the mast serves as a communication route to your smartphones. It serves as a communication mast between you and the universe, and it helps to give you clarity to what you want to achieve. Now, I want you to start perceiving that prototype as the real thing and interact with it like the real thing. If you can fake it, if you can immerse your feeling and make it look so real to you, it feels so real to you that you feel it within yourself. Imagine it when you're sleeping. If it's a house that you actually are building, you should imagine yourself sleeping in that very particular part. Make it as real as possible. If it is a car, imagine yourself driving that car. Now, when you do that, the reality is shifting. But with other strategies which I've laid out here, if followed, we substantiate that very ideology which you have into reality super fast. Don't forget it. Now, one other thing I want to remind you about it is the saying that fake it until you make it. The universe does not know what is fake and what is real. What it acts upon is what we believe and what we constantly, the predominant act and thoughts that we constantly reflect on. That is what it mirrored, using the principle of mirror. That is what it mirrored into the universe, into the reality, into the world we are. So if you fake it like you already have it, which the Bible talks about in the book of Matthew, that when you pray for anything, believe you have received it, and you will receive it. And you will receive it. So believe it and act on it like it's real. Mesmerize with it, make it feel as real as possible. This is yours. This is your own reality you are trying to pull from the spiritual realm here. And when you start doing that, it's going to start affecting everything about your reality. How much you in, the business you do, there's going to be more outcome. There's going to be more sales. There's going to be more customers. There's going to be more progress. It's going to start altering nature and things in order to make that dream you have a reality. That prototype which you have, that model you have, into reality. Why? Because you believed in it. Because it is real to you. Because you have already chiseled your own feeling into it. And the 9th one, which is most often times like a bonus, is gratitude. Be thankful. Be thankful to God that you have manifested your goal, that you have achieved that goal. Back on the making model, in Africa, when a woman is barren and she is finding it hard to conceive, they often find her a doll and tell her to treat the doll like a child that is going to melt the heart of the goddess of children to give her a child. And this practice works a lot. So whatsoever you desire, make a model of it and treat it like the reality, the real thing, and it will start shaping the reality of your own life from spiritual realm into physical. This is something which I've been practicing. So, if you notice where I started this very conversation, this very teaching with you, I start by trying to restructure your mind to believe, because all this whole thing will not be possible, will not be made manifest, will not substantiate, will not transmutate if you don't believe. If you start having any doubt, I talked about you believing, and let the belief be precedenting, be much more dominating thoughts that you have concerning it. It's not that we cannot have doubts sometimes, we can have doubts sometimes. But there is a level of belief that you're going to have is going to overshadow every doubt that you have. And that actually activates it faster. So, in other words, using visualization, you can achieve any goal.